The theme for our reflection today is hope, even in the darkest moments. The gospel of today makes use of very strange words like the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give light anymore, the stars will fall down from heaven, and the powers of heaven will be shaken. But keep in mind that Mark was writing this part of the gospel when the Christian communities were frightened and shaken by wars, calamities, and pandemics of all kinds. So to give them hope, he reminded them of what Jesus said, not to be deceived by senseless thoughts. It's not all about knowing the date or the precise time when the world will come to an end. Rather, it's about knowing how to live well in the here and now in this world. I want us to take a look at the second part of the gospel, which begins from verses 28 to 33. It is consoling to know that the kingdom of evil will soon come to an end, and there will come a time when Jesus will gather all his chosen ones and lead them to the new kingdom, a new reality, to the kingdom of God. But the big question is, when is all this going to happen? When will the evil perpetrated in our societies, in our world, going to come to an end? When will the new order that Jesus promised will come to be? I tell you a story. Mama Christie is from Jaba in southern Kaduna in Nigeria. Mama Christie lost her husband and 2 sons when bandits attacked their village. They were killed. And then the daughter who was going back to school was among the school children who were kidnapped and killed by a different group of bandits. All these events took place last year. And then sometime in March this year, the only remaining child, a son, who was living far away from the village, was again attacked by bandits, and unfortunately he was killed. Mama Christie is left alone without a family. She is of course living with the trauma of the loss of her husband and also her children. There are a lot of us out there who are Mama Christie undergoing, major collapse in our lives. There are those who just before the pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, who had, huge investments and everything has just crumbled. Or there are those who have been scammed. There are those who are, whose marriage are rocking the bottom. And many others out there whose lives are at the major collapse. Their worlds are torn apart. Everything they thought they had suddenly disappears. But keep in mind, friends, that the unscheduled and traumatic experiences we have or we experience in life are facts of living in the here and the now in this world. This was the experience of the Israelites and the community of Mark. And above all, it is our experience today. Change might happen quickly, but transition is a slower process. Spiritual masters call this period of transition the period of in-between. It is a very difficult moment in which we learn to live with the situation we have at hand. And at times it's so difficult that you cannot even see any little hope, nothing new. People, now it depends on the intensity or the duration of this transition, people might label us like he or she is not herself. And then when they observe closely, we eat too much or eat too little, we slug off work and become addicted to alcohol or drugs, we are silent when we should talk or talk when we should be silent. We start things and never finish, or even finish things we have not started. We get tired of friends asking us how we are doing, and we get hurt or offended when they do not ask us how we are doing. It is easy for some who are able to just slightly live above the situation, not to allow the intense situation to be above them. You hear words like, hang in there, or you will get through this. There are those of us who have that strong resilience. And I'm telling you, keep that strong resilience. No matter how devastating the situation is, we must find a way to deal with it. Spiritual masters will tell us that the in-between period of transition is a very good opportunity. It's a very good opportunity because it brings to our consciousness the need of God. And we are able to, put our feet on that ground that God has provided for us in the turbulence that we may be going through in our life. Because He promises us a new reality, a new situation, a new hope. No situation is so dramatic that it does not contain signs of hope. That is why the message of the prophet Daniel is not only meant for the Jews who were going through a difficult moment in their history under a king called Antiochus. Those words of hope are valid for us today in that there is no pain, there is no tears, there is no sacrifice that is lost. Our faithfulness will indeed speed up the rise of the new world, and we will share in the joy of the kingdom. But that is if, and only if, as Christians, we believe and we are convinced that evil has already been defeated by the death and resurrection of Jesus. So we do not need to worry. As a popular saying goes, the darkest part of the night is just before dawn. There is hope, even in the darkest moments of our lives. Friends, let's look for that flickering light.